My meatballs are almost done cooking. We're going to turn down the heat. Oops. And then we're going to start on our potatoes. So the recipe calls for butter, sour cream, potato water, and that's it. I'm going to kind of mix two of the recipes together. Do butter, shallots, heavy cream, and a little bit of potato water. Just because who wants potatoes without cream in them? And the shallot part was amazing last time I did it. So we're just melting some of the butter in the pan so we can dump our shallots in there. Make sure you get them all in there. And let's see. I'm gonna turn it up just a tiny bit. We honestly just want to brown these a little bit, get them cooking so they can release their flavor. It only takes about 30 to 40 seconds for shallots to release their flavor. And then we're gonna go ahead and dump the potatoes back in. So you can see we have them already cooked and drained. We're gonna dump those back in. Get in there. And then we are going to take the sour cream, put the sour cream in. Let's see. And then we're going to do a second sour cream. And then a little cream. And then we're going to mash, 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 mash. Let's see. I kind of do everything by eye. We're just going to do... That should be enough for now with all the other liquid. And then let's add some salt. Sorry, I have it on my stove from the meatballs already. And then some pepper. Blah, blah, blah. And we are going to mash, mash, mash. You mash until they're smooth. And if you need more liquid, you can add a little bit of this potato water. It's the salted potato water, or a little bit more cream, whichever you want. I'm going to do this because it's about to get really loud, and I'll show you the gravy. Like I said, we're leaving, you see all these little bits in there? These will make your gravy taste amazing. We're not using onions, like I said, because we have someone that's allergic to them. So these are shallots. Left the oil in, so I kind of reduced the amount of butter because you want to keep your oil and your flour ratio right. So I'm doing my butter, let that melt. Oops. Oh no, that's a shallot, that's not paper. Let that melt, let these shallots cook and marinate and soak up all that wonderfulness. So in a minute, what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a tablespoon of butter. I like to use a fork when I'm making gravy because you can get in there, use it like a whisk, especially if you're doing it in a skillet. I'd recommend scraping up all those little crusties just to make sure they're not sticking. And you can make sure that they're in your gravy. You get all the flavor from all of them. This isn't melting very fast. Let's turn this up. And like I said, this grease that they wanted us to wipe out keeps all the flavor. It didn't have very much in there anyhow. It was just a couple little meatballs, and it was 85-15 meat, so it's pretty lean anyhow. So as you can see, look, these shallots are nice and flimsy. They're kind of got a little bit of color on them. So we're gonna go ahead, let's make sure the rest of them are. We're gonna go ahead and add our flour. Now once you add your flour, you're gonna stir and stir and stir. So we kept a little bit more of that potato water just because it has a good starch in it. And like you can see, it's darker. It's because we salted the water and it's the potato water. The starch in there really helps thicken things up, adds good flavor too. Ties it in really well with the potatoes. So we just did a tablespoon of flour. You don't need much. I mean, a good gravy is, you know, it's thick, but it's also runny at the same time. What we're doing right now, we're making a roux, is what it's called. Making a roux is basically flour and some type of fat, and then your flavoring ingredients. So as you can see, mine's not very thick. We want it to cook a little bit and get brown. So we're gonna let it cook for just a second, and then we're gonna add a little bit more flour and make it a little bit thicker. Like I said, we want that to cook so we get a nice brown gravy. And let's see, let's add a little bit more of this flour. You don't need a lot. the longer you wait and the higher the heat, the thicker a roux will get anyhow on its own. If you have the flour and the fat ratio right. You never want to add just plain flour into gravy. So you want to make sure your roux is thick and good right now. So this is almost good. We're going to let it cook, get a little bit thicker, get a little bit more brown color to it, and soak up all those nice little bits off the pan. And then we're going to add in our potato water. And I think we'll also have some chicken stock to give it flavor. I don't know why it's chicken and not beef, but yeah. Here's the finished product. It's a beef stroganoff meatball. Guys, these potatoes are the best potatoes I've ever made in my entire life. I highly suggest this one. I give it 5 stars. It's amazing. Don't be afraid to make changes to the recipe if you think things are going to taste good. I did, and these potatoes are awesome. I mean, look at that. That's awesome. Anyhow, enjoy.